Audrey Henson. Audrey Henson.
My name is Audrey Henson, and I'm a small construction business owner right here in Pinellas, and I'm running to represent you in Florida's 13th district. Like you, I'm upset about the state of our country. The price of gas and groceries have skyrocketed. Our borders are wide open, and our police are under attack. I'm young enough that I realized I'm not supposed to be yelling at the TV. It's time for me to get off the sidelines and get involved. And that's why I'm running this cycle, because I want to represent you. Like so many of you, I grew up right here in Pinellas, down in St. Petersburg. Grew up from very humble beginnings from a low-income family. My parents were divorced. My mom worked various jobs selling used cars on US 19, and dad was an ultrasound tech and working in the medical field. He unfortunately got hit pretty hard by the opioid epidemic that occurred here. Anyone who's been in Pinellas longer than 20 years knows that we were hit incredibly hard by opioids. We are a top 3 national pill mill destination for the entire country. But through the grace of God and through his commitment, he's able to become sober. But when we were younger, that left us in a tough spot. My mom, well, as hardworking as she may have been, she turned to the government for help. And it's too often that families like mine and young people like me get on welfare, whether it's food stamps, Medicaid, free and reduced lunch, and they think these programs that are designed to help us are going to, and in reality, they end up hurting us. Whether you've been on welfare or not, we all saw through the pandemic that giving out free money doesn't work. People need opportunity. They need trainable skills. They need the chance to work. If you're willing, if you're able, which I know so many are, they want to take advantage of that opportunity. And so that's why I've dedicated my life to providing opportunity for others. I'm so lucky that I get to work in construction right here in Pinellas, but before that, I spent a career working in public service. Whether you know me or not, I've actually already been advocating for you, and I've been fighting for you. I've spent the last 10 years fighting for low-income families all across this country, especially families right here in Pinellas. After going to Dixie Hollins High School and St. Pete College and USF, I studied political science and wanted to go make a difference, go reform welfare, go to Washington, D.C., what we're all doing right here tonight. Had the best of intentions and realized that while I could have graduated college debt-free, I had to take on student loans to go work for a Republican senator. What is more hypocritical than a Republican senator who tells everyone to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but then says, I'm not going to pay you for work you do? It didn't sit right with me, and it didn't feel American. So I started a nonprofit and grew it to a national organization to fix that very issue. It's called College to Congress, and through that work, I helped 2,000 young people out of poverty, advocated and got appropriated over $48 million for young low-income leaders. I even created an online TED platform that's been adopted by state legislations, universities, colleges alike, and testified on 4 different occasions in both the House and Senate while I was under 30, telling a bunch of 60-year-old members of Congress how to do their job right, making our Congress more effective, making it more efficient, and doing it with less taxpayer dollars. So on day 1, I'm gonna be able to get to work for you. I'm gonna know exactly what to do and where to go, and I'm gonna start with Charlie Crist's backlog. We all know he's just been sitting in this seat doing absolutely nothing, waiting for the next seat to run for. Don't have to take my word for it, he just proved us all right last year. I think it's time that Pinellas finally got the leader they deserved. I'm so sick of flip-floppers like Charlie Crist and David Jolly who come in one party, end up being rhinos and leave another. Or carpetbaggers who aren't even from here who can't win this seat. This is our year to turn this seat red. And we need a local fighter and a leader to do that, and I'm just the candidate to get that done for you. Tonight, I hope to not only share my platform, but to earn your support and to eventually earn your vote. So thank you for coming out, and I look forward to getting any questions you may have. Thank you, Michael. I'm so glad you brought this up because as China is doing everything in their power to become energy independent, we have progressive liberals in the squad doing everything in their power to ensure we are not energy independent. They are trying to prevent our ability to take care of ourselves in our own country, all in the name of climate change. I am so sick of liberals hijacking the environment, thinking the entire world belongs to them, thinking they get to use it to shut down our businesses, to shut down our ability to build a pipeline, to shut down our ability to export great American crude that we could be making money on. We could cut taxes by just starting to export crude. But we have progressives in Washington who won't allow us to do that. No, they would rather attack our own country, send money overseas, than, God forbid, help an American country. I mean, these are the same people that think cow farts is what's really making the environment fall apart. It feels like a joke, but they're dead serious about it. We have to win back the House. We have an absolute clown show occurring in Washington, D.C. today. You have a president who quite literally is going to sleep at 4 o'clock. And hey, I'm not here attacking him. I feel bad for the guy. He deserves retirement. Send him home. I heard Nancy Pelosi's retiring. Let her go. She can go early for all I care. Yes. I also agree with Kevin, though. We can't just be against this. We have to have something we're for. I do agree. We need to get smart on crypto. We need to do it fast. I know our great governor, Ron DeSantis, is tackling this right now, figuring out how to use crypto to pay state employees. One of the great things about the blockchain is you can trace every single thing back. You ain't gonna be buying drugs and prostitutes with crypto because we'll be able to see that. I gotta be honest, I am so sick of talking about shutdowns and masks and lockouts. We live in the greatest state in America. We live in DeSantis land. We don't play those games. Aren't you all so grateful? We watch on the news, they're still burning down buildings. They're still protesting God knows what. Insert the new topic here this week. But as a DeSantis Republican, I will always stand for freedom. I will always fight for small businesses, and I will never let your sovereignty be stolen by the federal government. It's really our sovereignty that's under attack here. Yes. That's what they're going after. It's not about actually saving you from COVID. It's about taking away your freedom so you become sheep. So it is easier to control you so that the Democrats get to stay in power, and so you become small and they become big. That is what they are pushing here. People need to wake up and realize there is a bigger agenda at play here. I will always fight for your individual rights, and I will stand hand in hand with you against these insane liberal policies that are spreading all over our country. You have 5 conservatives on this stage. I think we all agree that China is the greatest threat to our country today, but I think we need to hit them where it hurts, their economy. We are solely reliant on them for the majority of our goods, whether it's food, clothes, machinery. I'm gonna tell you a real life example that we've been dealing with at By the Bay Bobcats lately. We need to buy a new skid steer, but they're on an 11-month delay. Of course, supply chain, but what specifically about the supply chain are we missing? We're missing that microchip. I'm sure you've all noticed the cost of used cars doubling to almost more than new cars these days. And it's not even a matter of getting it here fast enough. I quite frankly think they're doing this intentionally. They do not want us to build in America again. We have to build here again. When I am in Congress, I'm going to roll back regulations, both environmental and labor regulations, to help incentivize the American entrepreneur and American companies to build here, to grow here, to hire here, to sell here, so that we can become fully independent. Otherwise, we can't sit here and act like we're gonna be tough on China, because we're not. Because we're still buying everything we need from them. They're ripping off our IP. They have an actual spy dating a California member of Congress. Did you guys see that? Eric Swalwell dating a Chinese spy? Wouldn't even admit it? I agree, they are playing chess, and they're making a mockery of us. I also think we need to stand with Israel. As a Christian, as an American, they are our only ally in the Middle East. We are this close, guys, to getting back in the Iran deal. This is what Biden wants. We need to get strong Christian conservatives in Congress to ensure that we protect Israel and our country. Well, like Kevin and probably most of the Republicans here tonight, I agree we have to protect our elections. Our entire country is dependent on it. But when I think about the two most important issues and how I want to solve them, I really think about our populations that are our most vulnerable. This week I put out a statement talking about what's happening here in Florida inside of our schools, supporting Ron DeSantis' new parental rights and education bill. And the reason I feel so passionately about this is because as a child for years, I was sexually abused. And I know what it means to not be protected. So I have dedicated my life to protecting the vulnerable. When I think about the vulnerable, I think about two main groups, our kids and our seniors. When it comes to kids, I think the biggest issue facing them, of course, is our education system today. We have George Soros, Hollywood elites pouring millions of dollars into our curriculum. We have an entire generation of young people going to college today for the sole purpose of becoming a teacher, not to actually teach math and science, and we all know we're losing to China on both of those issues, but to shape the minds and get rid of conservatism and push a progressive agenda. At a time whenever young people are taking on $250,000 in debt to go get liberal arts and basket weaving degrees, why don't we teach them trades and skills? As a construction owner, I'll tell you right now, we're losing our master tradesmen. They're all retiring, and we need to create opportunity for them. I think about our seniors and what's happening in the economy and with inflation. They're living on fixed income on Social Security. I will always fight to protect and defend your Social Security, and I will do everything in my power to build back in America again, because that's how we start to save money and get out of this crisis. I appreciate the question. I mean, like you, I am a fighter for free speech. You know, when I was in college, it was the left that called themselves tolerant. It was the left that said that they wanted free speech. And how quickly the tables have turned. Now they're the ones silencing us. They're trying to, at least, and the most effective way they're doing that is cutting off your social media channels, shadow banning you, blocking the posts that you want to share. You got 2 ballots, they'll never let anyone else see that. You got sick after getting the vaccine, they're going to make sure no one else sees that too. But if you want to post about Biden, all of a sudden you got 10,000 views when you only had 100 followers. It doesn't take a scientist to realize they have an agenda here. They are trying to push a liberal agenda through every single aspect of our culture and our society. I understand technology. I'm going to be able to work with members of Congress, get them up to speed, and go after these companies that are acting like dictators in our own country. I'm gonna bring back coal, baby. Fire up those steel mills and let's start building in America again. That's what a member of Congress can do. They can make sure that we roll back regulations, that we roll back all of these preventions that are stopping companies from building here. And then we also have to incentivize these companies to build here again. You're right, it's often cost prohibitive. But one of the great things that Trump brought to us is he brought a sense of patriotism back. And I remember whenever the farmers were hurting because China came over here and stole our technology for our soybean. And then they undercut us in the market, trying to sell it back to us. But you know what those farmers did and said? They said, I'm okay if I lose a little this year. I'm okay if I lose a little next year, because I'm gonna be giving my farm to my children, and I want it to still exist when I die. That's not gonna happen unless we take action today, and I'm gonna make sure that we start building back in America again on day one.
Thank you so much.
I think, like everyone, I was absolutely mortified a few months ago when we saw an NBA executive say nobody cares about the Weeblers. And whether you knew what Weeblers were or not at the moment, when you Googled it and realized that we have concentration camps in our world today, and we have Americans who are supposed to be freedom fighters, freedom lovers, saying no one cares what's happening to them, it gives me goosebumps. It makes me realize we are losing our moral fabric in this country. As Christians, as conservatives, we are always going to fight for the vulnerable. I appreciate Amanda bringing that up too. People do care, and we're gonna fight for it. I think one of the ways we have to do it, yes, is with the pocketbook. And it may cost a little bit at first, but it's gonna save us in the long run. Because I don't know about you, but the things I buy from China, I have to replace 2 weeks later. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming out today. Thank you, Michael, for moderating this, and thank you to my colleagues for somewhat keeping this as civil as possible. I think we tried at the end, so I appreciate that. Most importantly, I want to thank everyone who's here in the audience today. You are taking time out of your busy lives to invest not only in our race, but in our community and in our Congress and our country as a whole. You are the reason that America is great today. You are the leaders in your community. You are the influencers. Your family, your friends, your colleagues are going to come to you because you were here tonight and ask you who to vote for and ask you your opinion about us here as candidates. So I want to applaud you and thank you. We've all stepped up to serve, but you're serving in another way too. You've probably gotten some information overload tonight. If you leave knowing one thing about me, this is what I want you to know. My name is Audrey Henson, and I'm running to represent the working class right here in Pinellas. This is my home. This is the place I love. I'm willing to put aside my businesses to take personal attacks and to get into this arena because I can't stand by and see another flip-flopper or carpetbagger lose this seat for us. This is one of the 5 most important seats in all of Congress to ensure we win back the House, we fire Nancy Pelosi, and we get to work on these great policies that we brought up today. But that's not gonna happen if we elect the wrong candidate out of this primary. I don't know about you, but I think Washington has enough lobbyists, enough lawyers, and enough liars already there. It's time for local leadership. And that's why I've stepped up, and I'm not gonna win this without you. I need your help. I'm grateful you're here tonight, but I'm gonna ask you to get even more involved. Come knock doors with me. I'll do it right alongside you. Come make phone calls. Come get petitions signed. This is a populist movement. We have an opportunity to get true leadership right here in Pinellas. I signed a term limit. I'm gonna do exactly what Ron DeSantis did. Go up, serve you, and come back home. I'm not trying to retire there like some of these career politicians looking for a cushy retirement. So I want you to go to audreyhenson.com, sign up to volunteer, sign up to meet me. I'm gonna be hanging out outside. I wanna meet you one-on-one. There's a lot of really important topics that we didn't talk about tonight, and I wanna know what you think about that. So thank you for your time, and I hope I had the opportunity to earn your vote tonight.
Audrey Henson, ladies and gentlemen.